This podcast is brought to you by the amazing crew of In-N-Out, giving us delicious, hot, quality, and mouth-watering burgers and fries. If you buy 2 fries, you get the third half off. Only on Thursdays and Fridays. Hey guys, I'm Noor.
And I'm Nieyah, and we're here with another great episode, but this time we'll be talking about The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Hopefully you know what we're talking about, considering you were supposed to read the book.
But if you didn't, don't trip, chocolate chip, we got your back. We'll be giving you guys further insight about the novel.
After reading, we realized how amazing the book was. The Great Gatsby illustrates the mind of the main character, James Gatz, who changed his name to Jay Gatsby to hide his past of being a poor Midwestern boy.
So, in the 1920s, the American dream was basically to be rich and have everything that was available to them, such as money, cars, credit, stuff like that. Everyone wanted to be wealthy, but not everyone could be, so the ones who were made sure they showed it off. The book is based on the life of an American, from money to parties to even trying to get the love of your life. Gatsby fulfills the American dream throughout the book. He does this while being wealthy. He throws lavish parties with alcohol and having love for the beautiful Daisy Buchanan. I say having love for Daisy with complete sarcasm because it seems as if he was more obsessed with her than actually in love with her.
Gatsby didn't come from families of old money who were always wealthy like Tom and Daisy Buchanan. He came from nothing and worked for all the money that he had gained to later be called new money.
Look at that. Shoot your mouth.
I like this.
Now,
When talking about The Great Gatsby, Gatsby is portrayed as such a mysterious character. We learn so little about him, and there's still so much more we need to learn.
Yeah, I really agree with you here. Gatsby's so quiet and always keeps to himself that the reader actually has to piece together the facts to learn more about his character and who he really is. I think the reason that he keeps to himself is because of his image and reputation.
Exactly. Like when he changes his name from James Gatz to Jay Gatsby. We know that he was poor when his name was James, but why not just keep the same name and prove that you can become wealthier instead of changing your whole identity to make it seem like you've always came from the wealth?
Yeah, this is why Gatsby always showed his wealth to everyone. He wanted people to know who he was and how rich he was. And he did this because he knew that no one knew his past since he had changed his identity. So now people would think that he has always been wealthy and was never poor. And I believe that he wanted people to think that he was always wealthy, so he wasn't considered worthless to people. And he wanted an image of someone that he wasn't, but no one really knew this of him.
Yes, I agree with you. And even though no one really knew his true self and only cared for his parties, they clearly knew of him. Remember how towards the end of the book, Nick talked to the minister at the funeral after seeing him glance at his watch multiple times? And after that, he asked if he can wait for an hour, but then he realized it wasn't any use because no one came.
Yeah, going off of what you said, in the beginning of the novel, everyone wanted to know the mysterious Gatsby and who he was, but I think people only used him for his drinks and his lavish parties. But Gatsby didn't care because he only wanted people to know how rich he was, and he wasn't a very open person, and he wouldn't really talk about his personal life with people.
I really agree with you here. This is why he was such a mysterious character, because he wasn't a very open person. As long as people thought he was rich, nothing else mattered to him. All he cared for was the reputation he had.
Yeah, you're right. Remember in chapter 1 when Nick said, no, Gatsby turned out all right at the end. It's what preyed on Gatsby, what foul dust floated in the wake of his dreams, that temporarily closed out my interest in the abortive sorrows and short-winded elations of men. I think that Nick never really got to know who the real Gatsby was, so he developed his own impression of him, and he realized that there was no more to Gatsby than what he showed.
So, after all this being said, being poor motivated Gatsby to change.
And that's all for today's show.
Thank you for tuning into The Review.
And please remember to tune in to next week's podcast. We will be discussing the one and only very sexy Chris Brown.
Have a great day, everyone, and remember to smile.
That was cute.